Hey everyone! I thought I would pop and just go live as I'm creating today. I just put the kids down for a nap, so I thought I'd jump on here, try to do a little bit of creating, and see if I can go live, see if it'll work a little bit better than it did last time. I'm just getting the feed up on my iPad so I can watch and see if anyone pops in. Otherwise, I'm just going to create. So, yeah. I am working today with this Enchanted Rose background stamp. It's a 6x6 background stamp from Brutus, Monroe, and I've had it for a while, but I just watched my friend Dell go live last night on Instagram and create with it, and it just reminded me about how much I love this stamp, so I thought I would try a little something with it today. So of course I have to use my Aqua Pigments because I cannot not use them since I've gotten them. I just need to watercolor everything. So I'm going to color this in with my Aqua Pigments. And I've already gone ahead and I stamped and embossed this in my copper embossing powder. And it's on watercolor paper so that I can watercolor it. And I stamped it on the smooth side instead of the textured side because when you're using watercolor paper, it's always better to stamp on the smooth side. Oh, hi Dee. Yes, I know. I watched Dell use this last night and I'm like, I need to watercolor that image. So that's what I'm doing today. Hi Lisa, thanks for joining. So I have it embossed in copper and I'm really into the fall colors right now. So I want like a really dark red, sort of a burgundy. So I'm gonna mix that up here in my palette. And I wanna add in some browns. You know, I think I'm gonna just drop it in right from my bottle. Let me find my brown. Here we go. I'm actually surprised at how much I've been using my brown Aqua Pigments. I thought I would go for more of the jewel tones, but I'm finding that brown is a really good color to have when you want to mix it and make your own custom colors. Let me mix a little bit of that in here with the red. And I'm going to put a little bit more red in there as well. Orange. Here's my red. Here we go. Add in a little bit more red. So I want to go for a fall color palette today. I think some of my favorite colors is like burgundy, the olive greens, even a little bit of purple. Let me just test this on the side and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think I'm really liking that. It's sort of a muted down red. So I'm going to go ahead and just start kind of brushing some color onto these petals here. And I want to kind of think about where the highlights and the shadows would be. I'm not being really precise about this. I'm going to do sort of more loose watercoloring, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully my phone doesn't give me problems like it did last time I went live. I'm still trying to figure this out on my YouTube. So I'm going to add some color down and then I'll come back in when this is a little bit dry and I'll go in and add some shading. Now you might notice that I did not stamp the whole image. I just stamped mostly just the flower. I'm going to actually attempt to fussy cut this out if that's not going to be too much of a hassle. And I have an idea of what I want to do with it. Thank you, Dee. I really enjoyed making that card. I was surprised at how it turned out when I made the original one. And I actually really liked it. And it was a different style for me. So I thought maybe it would be fun just to pop on the Brutus Monroe Facebook page and show you guys how I did that. I honestly think that the whole team did such an amazing job with the blog hop yesterday. They rocked it. They did amazing. We have the best team. So I'm leaving some areas a little bit white, just kind of like a little highlight. Hey, Adam. Thanks for joining us. just filling in some colors here on this background stamp. Just kind of trying to think about where the shadows and the highlights would be. And I'm going to try to make it a little bit darker where the shadows are and lighter where there's going to be highlights. Yeah, absolutely. Craft and watch. I think that's perfect. It's like crafting together. All right, so I have one layer on and you're watching at work. We won't tell anyone. We won't get you in trouble. Okay, so now that is kind of drying and I'm gonna go in and add another layer. I think I'm just gonna take some of this red. This is not what I just mixed up. This is just some red that's been on my palette. I'm gonna add that down here at the bottom. Now that some of these petals are kind of starting to dry, I can add another layer on top and get more of that layered watercolor look going on. And I'm just trying to be really loose and kind of messy with this. I want it to have sort of its own thing going on here. Just trying to think about where to fill in all of these areas here. So does anyone have any plans for the weekend? I know it's Thursday, but Friday's coming up and then the weekend. We're actually going to go to some friends' house for dinner tomorrow night. And then this weekend, Saturday, is a harvest festival in our community. So we're going to go take the kids to that. I think that'll be really fun. So hopefully it won't be a super busy weekend and just really tire them out like I did last weekend. I'm going to hit this with my heat tool and kind of dry those areas that I just painted. All right, I just want to give it a second to cool down again. I don't want to smear that embossing powder. Sometimes when you take the heat tool over it again, it will sort of remelt. And I don't want to smudge it because I hope you can see on the camera, I'm getting those layers in there and it just looks gorgeous. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a lot of water. I want to add some really subtle highlights, subtle color here where I left it white. Kind of just pull out some of that color. The really fun thing with watercolors is that since they are reactive with water, even after they're dried, you can still move them around once you add some more water. So I'm just going to add some water here and pull that out onto those highlights. This one needs a little bit more color. Just adding a little bit to the tip of my brush and filling in some of them highlighted areas. You can kind of see that color start to move on some of these bigger petals. Just gorgeous. My son has been fighting naps lately, and I'm really trying to get him to keep taking naps. I know he's getting to the age where he's going to kind of grow out of them, but I'm like, no, you have to keep taking naps. I need my craft time. So we'll see. We'll see how long he keeps napping. But he is sleeping now, so that's good. I took him out to the playground this morning. We went for a nice long walk, just trying to get them tired out because my son is just full of endless energy. He needs to get out during the day. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dry that again. All right, give it a second to cool down, and you can see how those layers, as they dry, you can see how those layers are just building on top of each other. So I'm going to add a few more layers yet, I think. I just really like that look of that layered watercolor. And when I want to add some shadows in here, I could add some more of that red, but I think I want to make it even a little bit darker. I could add some black, but I want to keep it more of the fall color theme, so I'm going to actually add some brown. So I'm going to drip some brown over my palette here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of brown for some shading. I just hope that doesn't ruin my card, but it shouldn't. I'm going to get a little bit of water in my brush and just pick up a tiny bit of brown and add some right here where there would be some shading. And you could even add a little bit of purple because that would mix well with the red. So it started looking a little pink, which I wanted more of a red, but I think as I add some of the brown back in, and then maybe I'll go over it again with some more of that red that I mixed up, I think it will kind of come back to its red color. I'm just adding a little bit more here in the center because I know that would be darker anyway in the center because not as much light would be hitting it. So I'm just adding a little bit there. Now I'm going to go ahead and dry this layer and we'll see what it looks like. All right, I am liking the layers here. I'm liking how it's going to look. I'm going to go ahead and add some more of that red on top. Get another red layer here, and that might be good for the flower, and then we can move on to the leaves. So my watercolor paper, you can see, is kind of warping, and that's just going to be normal when you're watercoloring. You're going to get some of that warping going on because you're adding water to your paper, obviously. But sometimes you can tape it down or tape it to like a clipboard or an art board or something, and that can kind of help cut down on the warping. And sometimes you can even hit it on the back side with the heat tool, and that might kind of help it warp back again a little bit. But I don't have mine taped down. I really like to move my paper around as I'm coloring, and I think once I get this done and I get it cut out, I can really just kind of tape it down on my card really well, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So now after I'm adding another layer of this brown in here, you can see it's really coming back to its red color, not as much pink. Hopefully you guys can see the detail on the camera. I'm hoping it's picking up this detail. I'm going to add some more red up here in this area. All right, that's looking pretty good, I think. So I'm going to hit that with my heat tool, and I think I'll be done with the flower, and then I'll move on to the leaves. All right, so I do have some green mixed up on my palette already that I used on a different project. It's some green. I added some brown into there as well, and I think it was just green with some brown in it. So let's mix that up. It makes it more of a sort of fall time kind of green, not as bright. And I'm gonna add some definitely on these leaves. I know I want to cut these out when I fussy cut this. So I'm just going to go from where it might be darkest, add some color and kind of pull it out. Pull that color out and kind of, I'm leaving some space around the edge just as it dries. I think it's nice to see that edge there. I guess I would say this is kind of an olive green. So I'm going to actually color these leaves too down here. I know that's not the full leaf, but with the idea I have in my mind, that might actually work for my card that I'm going to try to create. And I'll color this one as well. Our new home that we moved to, it's got, oh, I'd have to say like 3 or 4 rose bushes that were planted already, and they are just gorgeous. They all have different colors. We have a yellow rose bush, we have one that does the red roses, and then the one out front I've never seen this kind of color of flower before, but it's orange and it fades out to pink on the tips, and it's just gorgeous. So I've really been enjoying watching it bloom. And I even try to clip off a few blooms before they die so that I can use them in some of my card photos. So if you ever catch that in my photos, those are roses that I've clipped from our bushes from our new house. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit more color to the leaves. I'm not going to pay as much attention to the leaves, and I'm not going to add as many layers. I'm just kind of maybe get maybe a few layers on there. This time I am kind of trying to fill in all of the areas of the leaves, just kind of painting up to the edge. And fill in those areas. All right, I'm gonna dry that and then I am going to move on, and I think I'm done with the watercoloring. All right, so I'm just gonna let this cool down for a minute, and I'm gonna move my watercolors aside, and then I'm gonna get ready to move on to the next part of my card. Try to move these somewhere they're not gonna spill. I want to make sure that no water is kind of pooling on my image, so I'm just going to kind of blot it with my towel here. Make sure I pick up any extra water. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut this. Let's see if I can fussy cut this out. Hopefully I don't kick myself in a second here when I realize too much fussy cutting. I know some people really love fussy cutting. They say it's relaxing, but I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love the look. I don't actually love doing it, but I think it makes the look of the card, the finished card, I like how it looks. So I do it for the end result. I don't like the process though. I'm gonna cut out these flowers here too. These leaves. And I'm really liking how this penny embossing powder is working along with these colors. I think it just really helps it stand out when it catches the light and how it shines. It's just gorgeous. I'm not really trying to go around all the little ridges here in the leaves. I'm just kind of winging it. We'll see what it looks like when I'm done. I think it'll look good. I have an idea in my head on what I want this card to look like, so we'll see if it actually turns out that way. There's a lot of cards that I've had an idea and it wasn't working and I had to take it a different direction, but sometimes that can be a good thing too, because then you end up with a card that looks great and you didn't expect. So it's just fun to sit down and create and see what you come up with. All right. And cut around this little edge here. Trying to figure out where the, okay, I think that looks good. All right, so I've got that all cut out now. And I'm just gonna throw the scraps away. And I was thinking I would just put this on a card front. So I have some white here think I was thinking about the lunch bag, although that looks really good on this marsala. I was thinking I'd do it on the lunch bag craft. What do you guys think? Do you like it on the marsala or the lunch bag craft? Now I'm thinking, or you know what we could do is layer them. Okay, I think I really like it on this marsala. So let's go ahead and cut this down. I think I want it to be like a long card, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it this way. So we want to cut it at 4 1/4, right? No, we want to cut it at 5 1/2. Yes, 5 1/2. So now I can have a long card that folds on the top, and then go ahead and score it. Score it at 4 1/4. Oh wait, you know what? I wasn't going to make this one my card base. I was going to make this the layering piece. That's fine. I'm just going to cut this in half then, and then I can use that at the front. So let's go ahead and cut that in half. And then I want to trim it down a little bit again. See, I'm going to do, so it's 4 1/4 now. I'm going to do 4. By 5 1/4. So I'm just chopping off 1/4 inch on each side. So that's gonna give me my card front, and then put it on top of one of these. So I'm gonna layer it like this. So I gotta cut this one down as well. So we're gonna go, okay, I usually cut them the long way. That's why I have to think about this. I'm gonna do 5 1/2, and there I have my card base. Okay, too much math. Too much math for me. And then go ahead and score it. 4 1/4, right? Yes. Wait, that is 4 1/2. 4 1/4. There we go. There. All right. Got it. Okay, so I do want to go ahead and layer this on top. I'm going to layer my rose right here, I think. We'll see how I want that layered. I'm trying to think about what I could put on the background, if anything, because I feel like it needs a little something. Something on the background. Let's see here. Should I, let's see, what should I do? Maybe I should try to flick on, you're not going to see it very well, but you could flick on some color on the background. So let's try some of this brown. At least it'll give it a little bit of texture. So you're not really going to see the color. You're just going to mostly see that there are splatters on the background. I kind of want them mostly in this area. So let's pick up a little bit more here. Add a few more splatters. Okay, we'll see what that looks like. It's going to be really subtle, just a subtle little texture in the background. And let me dry that real quick. little too subtle. You can't even see it. Okay. So let's see here. Maybe we could just... Maybe I should emboss it with an embossing folder. What do you guys think? Where are my embossing folders? So I have a few here. Here's a floral one. I don't know if I like those. Maybe I should just stick it on there and then get a sentiment on. Oh, you know what we could do? I know. Let's do this. I get stuck on my cards a lot because I have an idea and I go as far as my idea went, and then it's like, okay, now how do I finish this? So I have some twine here, which I really love. What happens if we wrap some around the back? What would that look like? Does that look good? Maybe? We'll see. Let's just try it. I like the twine with the lunch bag craft cardstock. I think it gives a really nice subtle look. The rustic fall look is what I'm going for. All right, so let's just kind of see what this looks like. Get that spread out a little bit. Maybe I should put it down here. What does that look like? I kind of like that. Maybe we should just stick with that and then layer on top of this card here. So let's trim this a little bit. And I'm going to figure out where to put my little rose here. And I want to use some foam adhesive. So I just this morning ordered the huge roll of foam adhesive from Brutus Monroe. So I'm excited to get that. I use a lot of foam adhesive. So especially on cards like this where I just need to pop up one of these really big stamped images and you have to use a lot of adhesive. Okay, I think I'm back. What is going on? Okay, I gotta change this. Turn around the camera. There we go. Don't know why it kicked me out, but I am back. Let's see how that goes. There we go, and just stick that down. And then I'm just gonna trim off the edges here. Make it go right to the edge of my card front. There we go. Okay, so I am liking that better with that twine in the background. I think that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna fix this bow here now that I have it all, everything's stuck down. I'm just gonna fix that, make it a little bit more tidy. And you can always add a little bit of glue behind your bows if you're using a bow or a string or anything, and just kind of hold it into place. I might actually do that a little bit later, but for now I think that looks all right. And I'm going to slip a piece of foam adhesive right behind this leaf here. Just make sure that stays down. All right. So I am liking that so far. And then I want to also pop it up off the card front. So I'm going to add more foam adhesive, but it's okay. I have a huge roll coming. So I can be a little bit more liberal with the foam today. Give it some more dimension. All right, stick that on the front. Make sure it's pushed down pretty well. And I am liking that so far. I have a few more ideas, maybe on what I want to do to embellish it. I have some really chunky gold flakes that I think would be really fun to kind of put around the edge here, and I don't know where they are. I don't know if I have them right next to me, so I might have to do that later. Actually, I'm gonna run and see if I have them in my box here. All right. Here's my box of glitter. I don't see it in here. Oh man, I must have moved it somewhere. Okay, maybe I'll do that later. But let's put a sentiment on this. So I am, like I said, mentioned earlier, we're gonna go to a friend's house for dinner this tomorrow night. So maybe I'll just put a thanks on here and just give them a thanks when we get to their house. And I think maybe I just want to do just plain white cardstock. Let's see what that looks like. Let me just cut this out quick. My little Platinum 6 machine with my dies. Get everything off. Because when I'm not using my die cutting machines, I like to use them as storage and just pile things inside of them. So yeah, we all need more craft room, more space in our craft rooms, right? Okay, actually I'm going to flip this over, I think, because I'll then have the textured side up on my card. I'm just going to run that through. And let's see what that looks like. So this is a thanks die from Brutus Monroe as well. They have a number of word dies now in their store, and I really love their word dies because they are so thin, and a lot of the other ones that I've seen are just kind of chunky, and they're great, but I really love how thin these dies are. They don't take up too much space on your background. If you worked hard on a background, they don't cover it all up, but you have a really nice sentiment and die on top of it. So I think that looks really nice. I'm going to go ahead and just adhere that down. I don't think I need to do anything else more with it, unless I wanted to get some color on there, but I kind of like that plain white. So let's just go with that. I'm going to use a little bit of my Brutus Monroe craft glue for the background, not on the background, for my sentiment. Just put a few dots on the back here. There we go. And just adhere it down. There we go. And for this side that's hanging off the edge, I'm going to cut a very super tiny piece of foam adhesive, which is really kind of tedious, but I think it's worth it just to get that look. So really, really thin piece of foam adhesive, and I'm just going to stick it back behind here to help hold up this thanks die. Hopefully I can hide it. Maybe I'll go behind the S. There we go. And then maybe I'll cut just another really tiny piece for behind here. Just to kind of help support that so it doesn't get squished everywhere. There we go. All right. So that looks good. And I think that kind of finishes the card. So hopefully you guys liked watching a little bit of that watercolor and this Enchanted Rose background stamp. Like I said, it's one of my favorites and I just kind of forgot about it. So when I saw Dell creating with it, I'm like, I have to pull that out and I have to make a card. So thanks for joining me. If you're catching the replay, thank you. And if you liked it, you know, give a thumbs up or share or comment. I love to hear from you guys. So have a great day, everyone. Bye.